listening to it out loud. So I'll just film a bit of it, and then we can post it on Breakbeat Therapy, like
Yeah, yeah.
so people
Yeah, yeah.
idea of what's gonna happen.
Please do, please do.
All right, we're rolling.
All right.
I will just very briefly say welcome, and then I'll post the first question, and then we run.
Of course. I'm ready.
Okay, good.
You tell me what to do.
So, welcome everyone. We have Dreadmaul in the house, guesting us from Mainz in Germany, and he's in town for playing Breakbeat Therapy, and he brought his very cool live modular jungle improv kind of set, and is going to be explaining a little bit about how he is making all of this magic happen. So thank you first and foremost so much for coming and playing the party, and also like inviting us into your realm of music creation and performance.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me. Hi, I'm Dennis Dreadmaul, and yeah, I want today explain a bit about like my setup, my whole process, and I start by doing a little bit of like talk a little bit about the ideas and the philosophy about why I set things up this way, and then I show you what I'm doing, like with all the gear I have set up here. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to achieve here is like a hybrid thing between like a DJ setup and yeah, one-man live band. So I want to like play electronic music, but also I want to be able to improvise and to be like reading the crowd and interacting by like keeping the music running or like going into like a deeper ambient-ish mode earlier than I would have planned it. So yeah, that's like one thing the DJs can't usually do. They can like switch the track or yeah, just play it and do like some little effects on top. But for me, I want to be more flexible with it. So basically, it's about improvisation. That's like my whole like idea about behind it. And for that thing, I have like a pretty basic setup. It's not like with advanced routing or so, but it's yeah, it's about playing like my tracks only, having it prepared into like loops and sounds, and I arranged them with the Digitakt as my like the brain of this whole operation. And I have my modular rig, which is handling a lot of the samples as well, but also the FX, because the Digitakt only is just, yeah, it's just a sample player, a drum machine basically, a drum computer, it says. And with the modular gear, I have access to like a lot of more of like weird FX, weird, yeah, delays and so on that I can like control with my fingers. So yeah, that's basically the idea. The main goal is to be like, to find kind of a flow state. So I am comfortable enough and it is easy enough for me to navigate everything, but at the same time I am like challenged enough to be like, get in the zone and really get to like fix problems, so to speak, and interact with the crowd. Because I feel like that is something that a lot of bands really excel at when they are playing live. They can rely on each other, and they can rely on, like maybe if they improvise, they can like rely on their improvisational skills. And if you are a one-man band and you yeah, just have your setup, you only can rely on that. So yeah, it's very important that I know, at least I know my setup. But yeah, at the same time, a band can't do like, can't necessarily do these fat 808 basses or like chop jungle breaks, and that's what I'm also able to do with this one, or with this setup. Yeah, I feel like that's basically the gist of it. Yeah, do you have a question about like the general idea behind it?
What drew you into this madness?
Oh, wow. Yeah, the madness started like with me producing music and producing jungle for like I think half my life now, and yeah, I was getting deeper and deeper into like a very rough sound. People call it an analog sound, but also they called it that when I didn't had any outboard gear, because it was like, yeah, rough, like not as polished, especially in contrast to like at that time there was like a lot of music, like the neurofunk era was very like, everything was high polished, producer battles who can make the most compressed bass sound and so on, and I relied on like simple samples, not too much EQing, and that led to, yeah, basically getting more and more outboard gear and getting more and more to learn what I like about outboard gear. And one of the most important things I like about it is the haptics. I can turn and twist knobs, and of course a DJ does that too, but I want to be able to, yeah, switch up more than just taking away the bass or changing the volume. So yeah, and then this whole journey started with the modular, with the Eurorag, and I feel like a lot of people that are into Eurorag can relate. You buy like some modules, you sell some, and it's almost like a living creature that breathes, and the setup changes. Like tonight will be the 4th time I properly play it live, but it was never the same. Like this time the first time I have the Magneto in here, and it's the first time I have the Brucha in here. And yeah, so this, I will explain the modules in detail a bit later, but it is like at home I have many more modules that are more yeah, directed for me to produce with them, and this is the selection that made it that I can play live with them. So a lot of samplers and a lot of FX and not too many like generative LFO kind of stuff that, yeah, you would typically use to do your ambient music or pads or whatever. Yeah, but I was always like a big fan of live improvisation. I play in a band, and at every band practice I was the one that said, yeah, just maybe we can jam some more and just find our way. And that's like basically now I'm at a point where I'm like at the combination of what I like to do and what I used to do and what I'm good at, and yeah, so that's basically the story. I want to be able to do like this kind of yeah, I don't like really calling it a ritual, but it's like a journey, a musical journey. And you will see when I play the sounds what I mean with that, because it's like very deep and it starts a bit meditative. And like my DJ sets always were, when I could, when I was happy to be at the right place in the right time slot and so on, I start a bit more hypnotic, so to speak, and then I advance it, and people are getting slowly but steadily drawn into it, and in the end they are dancing to like mad chopped drum breaks, and didn't realize that it was getting like this mad, yeah. Yeah, so I try to like take the crowd, the listeners, take them by the hand, and then go to like live this journey of the development and the progression of my sound. And that's like, you can do that with like prepared tracks as a DJ, but with this I'm like forced to just play my music and my samples, which is like a very interesting part of it as well, because it forces me to be not so self-conscious about it. And yeah, if I wanted to sound better, I need to make my sounds sound better, and I can't just switch the track out or use maybe a newer release that is better mixed or whatever. Yeah, so that's basically that.
Amazing.
Yes.
One more question before we dive into it. You mentioned that, like you mentioned flow. So do you know what kind of makes you lose yourself?
Yeah, I feel like with flow, it is about being in this zone of not being overwhelmed by the difficulty, but at the same time not being like bored by the easiness. And this is I learned this about me when I DJ'd a lot, because I was very badly prepared on a lot of gigs, like not looking at my tunes and not like naming the files properly and so on. But that was the challenge that put me really into this zone where I don't recognize time anymore, and I'm just like in like a higher state of conscience, so to speak. Like, I look at the crowd and I have my music and my instruments, and nothing else is matters basically. So that's what I feel I excel, creating art. And it's a bit of like a similar situation in the studio. When I am comfortable with the program and my setup and everything, I don't need to think about it too much, but I can like just process or progress my work. And for life it is basically the same. It's just about being in the right spot, that I don't have to think, because I think a lot about a lot of things all the time. But when I can shut everything up, what time is it? Are there enough people? Do we have too much smoke or fog or whatever? And just concentrate on the music and the how the people are responding to it. That's what I'm about, and what I'm like. That's what gives me the most like pleasure and dopamine hits in the end. Yeah.
Dope. I think it's so funny that you mentioned the band story and being the advocate of jamming.
Yeah.
Because like playing in a band is amazing. Like when you actually get to lose yourself in the moment with friends or with other human beings, it's really it's magical. Like it's some of the things that happens at the dance, which truly like kind of brings people together in a both inward and outward state. Just
Absolutely.
And I can totally relate to what you say about trying to find that sweet spot with other bandmates or with other humans.
Yeah.
And then when you dig into music technology, if you dig into instruments or creating systems of your own, like in your case, a pretty complex system like building a synthesizer and resampling machine and all of that, it's really a question about you creating an environment with the correct limitations that finds the sweet spot between not being boring and not being too overwhelming. And I really find it so fascinating with like solo musicians who incorporate music technology in this way, just for the sake of finding that sweet spot, to lose yourself and then take it on stage and on tour and then share it with people.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a lot of preparation is going into this. It isn't like you could perform with modular, and I feel like with some, it could be easier with less sample-based music, like techno, for example. You have your setup and you can just start creating, like on the fly, and be in the zone that way. But because the music I make is very much sample-based and with textures of like throat singing and ancient flutes and whatsoever, and of course your typical breakbeats, I need to like have everything prepared and cut to the right file length, and then there's like so much limitations you have to work around, be it like the RAM memory of the Digitakt, or like how much samples I can put into which module. Like I have 2 sampler modules with 8 sample slots each, and I don't use 16 samples on here. Sometimes I don't use one module at all, but it's pretty much, yeah, really depending on the track and the mood, what I am going to do. And the hard thing is to create and like have everything set up this way that I can work every vibe. So I can work with like the more ambient stuff, and or like in the beginning when it's more like hypnotic, I can work that, but also I can work with like the more old school jungle-ish sounds that I play later in the set, and everything needs to be playable in the setup without me starting to switch up cables, because then I start thinking about like the routing and not about the music, and then it would be yeah, like the flow state would be in danger. So yeah, a lot of preparation. I have like spreadsheets on spreadsheets, which sample is going on which slot and played by which channel and so on. So yeah, that's basically the hard work I put in. Is the preparation.
It's practicing your scales on the
Yeah.
on the equipment.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's practicing my file management.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Of course.
And definitely go check out Dreadmaul's music and also his other monikers online. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, you can, like, I just started it, so there's not too much information on there. Oh,
Yeah.
cheers.
Yeah, you should just show them.
Yeah.
So much for.
So, yeah, like, the first thing I need to say before we start going into it is, like, thank you for having me, for making everything possible. It's such an honor to be here. The second thing is I need to make more promo for my Patreon, because that would be the best way to support me. And the third thing is buy my records, and I have some here. It's like by this record I did with Attic from the Netherlands. It's the Rites of Passage. It's like one of the monikers. Go check out the whole Alpha Cut catalog, which is like not only my music but also loads of different awesome stuff on there. And in the future, go check out this special project that is at some point coming out. I hope this year. Yeah, so let's get into it, right?
Yes.
Let's dive into making actual music.
Amazing. Thank you. And yeah, let's see what all this is about.
Okay, so I think I just show you what are the basic elements, and then I get into like the routing of it.
Yeah.
So we have like I said before, this is the Electron Digitakt. It's the MK1 version, which is like the brain of everything. It's the central station where I trigger or like prepare the most and program the most. Then we have my modular rig, which is an IntelliJ case, 7U, which has all my modules. Like I said before, there are 2 sampler modules and a lot of FX, but not only samplers and FX, but more of that later. And you see the flute over here, and you see the loop machine. This is also like a part of the project, but not a big part of the project, because I'm not like too proficient with the duduk, which is like an ancient Armenian reed flute. It's, I think, 2,000 years old or so. So I really like the sound, especially when it goes through the loop station and gets like added a bit of delay and reverb and so on. And yeah, so maybe I just show you a bit what I'm doing and then start to explain everything. So this is basically a very quick preview of what I'm doing. And what you saw was me basically muting and unmuting different channels and changing some FX over here. Yeah. So I think it's the best way to just look at each channel I have set over here. You see, like, if it's, I don't know if the camera is capturing the color, it's like a violet-ish color, and that means it's on or it's muted. And there's a different mode of muting, it's the green one. That is like a permanent, a global mute, but with the purple one it is linked to the pattern. So when I mute everything here or just let the drums and the bass play, I can switch the pattern, and when it's switched and I have like the mutes saved in a proper way, then it turns on like a lot of patterns or shuts down a lot of triggers, so a lot of channels at once.
So it's both playing samples and it's also sequencing the modular.
Right, exactly. Great. So the Digitakt has 8 sample slots, but also 8 MIDI channels. And it was a bit tricky figuring it out how these 8 channels can control all these all the channels on the assimilator, which is like my first sampler module, and the squid sample, which is the second. And as you see, there's not only like modular patch cables over here, but also different MIDI cables. So yeah, let's start with the Digitakt and then go into like how I set the MIDI channels up. Yeah, so let's have a look. Yeah. So this is track 1 on the Digitakt. It's my kick, and it's like on every project I load, most of the projects I load, it is the kick. So I always know if I mute this, there's no kick, because the kick in like the genre we make music is most of the time the most prominent thing. And then we have like different other sounds. Let's unmute it. We have like some percussions over here, and it's nothing too special. Like if we have a look at the drum break, which is channel 7, this I think it's quite interesting because we have the samples. It's like a drum sample of a breakbeat, but we have it sliced, and you can program the Digitakt so it plays the slices, yeah, how you want it. And you can also, which I really like, you can randomize the slices. So if we have a look, those are like the things, and you see this is slice 3, this is slice 4, and so on. But we can also save I always do it, save the pattern, like with the temporary save, and then create random logs, which is like a randomizer. And now the drum breaks are like randomized, or the slices are randomized. And this way you can, like, especially when the drum breaks are a bit more pronounced, you can like get really wild with it, and then you just hit reload pattern and everything is back to normal. So
Dope.
yeah, cheers. Sometimes I have vocal loops or pads on here as well, or FX. It really depends on, like I said before, it really depends on what kind of vibe I'm going for and what samples are in the project or in the track. Yeah, and that's basically it. It's not too much of thinking. I'm not using the Digitakt to its full extent and not using all the features. Yeah, basically on some drums I have, or like some sounds I have some kind of delay or reverb active, but it's all very subtle because this is basically, most of the time, this is the rhythm foundation. And when we have the foundation going, we can look at the bottom row, which is the MIDI channels. And this was quite a headache to work out, how these 8 channels could control those channels and also those channels on the different modules. So if we have a look at it, I just mute everything. Track 9, so this one, you can maybe see that it is the first MIDI channel, and the MIDI routing is, we have a MIDI out going into the Locutus MIDI mediator expansion of the assimilator, which I set up so the channels are like always playing stereo. So MIDI channel 1 is controlling sample channel 1 and 2, which is left and right on the assimilator. We have the next channel as well, which is 3 and 4, if I have it. Yeah. And you see, this is playing like kind of a melody, but I rendered it, so this is just one sample. I don't sequence it from the Digitakt. I do on other projects where that's like the beauty of it, I can just play notes on here and do mostly monophonic, but I do like melodies on here, and the assimilator automatically like pitches it up if you set it up correctly. So let's stay with these first two channels. Back to channel 1, which is like this vocal thing. If we follow the route, it goes into the magneto, and magneto is like my top delay module. And I linked it with these two knobs on my control module from Music Thing Modular, which is, I could basically just use these two smaller buttons, but because I play around with the delay time and the feedback so much, I like it to have it on the big buttons. Right, another thing, if we change the pattern again and mute everything.
So the assimilator has a memory card, and the memory card has the samples,
Right,
and then the
exactly.
samples are allocated to the different channels.
Exactly.
And then it handles the channel playback, so kind of like what the Digitakt is doing, but differently in the modular
Yeah,
world.
exactly. It's basically an extension of the logic of the Digitakt.
Yes,
But
yes.
I'm going to talk about it. One of the problems is, like the things you always have to keep in mind, is changing up the projects. With the Digitakt, I found this workaround that I could just load up lots of patterns, which are basically different songs. So I have 1, 2, 3 is for the first track, and then 5, 6, 7 would be the next track with like intro, main part, and so on. But with the assimilator and the squid sample, you have to switch the presets. So as you see, I have my presets all named, and those are basically different sets of samples. The routing is the same, but maybe what changes is if it is played like a one-shot or like a gated note. But it makes it interesting if I still have like my melody from one project, from one song, and change the preset in the assimilator, and then the melody suddenly gets played with different samples. And that could be an interesting thing if you know what you do and are not like overwhelmed because suddenly you play like a very fast melody with a long vocal sample or something. Yeah, so exactly. The first one is most of the time some kind of vocal sample. And what I really like about the assimilator, it's a bit similar to the Digitakt, is you can put multiple samples on the same channel, and they call it zones. And I can, by assigning like, for example, I assigned the velocity of the MIDI note that goes to the assimilator. I assigned it to switch between the zones. So if I play a low velocity MIDI note, it's zone 1 playing, which should, let me see. Yeah, which is like this. The smaller, the shorter one, and the high velocity triggers are the longer one in this example. And it's a good way to like set up multiple samples on the same channel, because I want to have the same effects on like K or R or whatever. Yeah, so let's continue with the second channel, which is like this it's like a sampled thing. And this goes to the Ghost, which is like a, from Endorphins, which is like a multi-FX module. It can basically do anything. So it has like this big filter knob, but I linked it to this filter because, or this knob rather, because I really like to play around with it. This is also, like I told before, set up this way because I wanted to stay in the flow state. And if I need to think about which knob can I move and which shouldn't I move, I maybe start thinking more about the routing and the complexities of my programming. So instead I try to have these 4 big buttons as safe. I can mangle them, I know what they are doing at any point, so it's like a fallback for me. I could like turn up the distortion on this, but it really depends, and I really have to think, or have to remember to put it back before I load the next track. The third sample slot on here should be, this is kind of a pad sound. Let's see if I, and you can see how easily I can play it on here. It's like on the Digitakt it has like this piano layout. And this goes just into the MFX, which is set to a reverb. And I don't change like the reverb. Sometimes I could like up the mix a bit, but most of the time it just stays where it is, because like I said, it's just like, it's a bit menu divey, and it's this one button that I need to think of. Yeah, and basically the routing works this way, that it gets mixed in the mix-up and then routed to the oximeter, which is like a very, very nice module if you are a live performer, because it has, especially a live performer for electronic music, because it has, let me activate some tracks. And it is basically a one knob function drop generator. So I can, like, now I use the riser, which has like a white noise rising, and then I could slowly turn it down back, or I could just use the off button and then have everything come in at the same time when activating or deactivating like tracks, or load a new pattern, as well as like doing this build up over here with the shepherd tone. Yeah, and that creates like these moments that really resonate with the audience most of the time, when stuff comes on or switches like after a long build up. And what I really like about the oximeter is, as well, it's clocked. I can say something about the clock too. And because it's clocked, I can have this snare roll build up, which you wouldn't expect to have in like in an old school jungle setup, but it works really well when you like layer it on top of breakbeats and then take it away and go on with the bass. Because I just talked about the clock, it's the clock gets synchronized by the mutant brain, which is like gets lost in all the cables, which is like the MIDI through from the locutus transfers the MIDI information to the mutant brain over here, and it syncs up the tempo and start-stop information from the Digitakt, and then I have it synced up with Pamela's new workout, which is basically a clock multi-tool, and this is like spreading the clock everywhere it needs to be. So most of the modules I need to have a clock, or need to have clocked, need to have in time sync, get their clock from Pamela's new workout. And the other thing why I need two MIDI modules in here is the mutant brain is controlling much more than the clock, but also the 8 channels on the squid sample. Maybe before I start with that, the last 2 assimilator channels are always some kind of reese bass or wobs and a sub bass, which is on the Digitakt my channels 12 and 13. So I have the first 5 channels locked to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 as mono and 8 as mono. And those bass channels get mixed together on the duet here and then go into the wasp filter, which is controlled by the last one of the big knobs. And it is just a very dirty filter. Yeah, and that's what I do with the bass line. It gets a little bit of distortion when I want it, but it really depends on the track and the sound. Yeah, and now we still have 8 channels to work with, but only we have 3 channels on the Digitakt. So the solution is, because unlike the assimilator, the squid doesn't track the pitch information. Well, it does on the last channels, but more on that in a minute. Basically, this is like my one-shot machine. Most of my FX samples are on the squid sample. So the way I set things up is, fortunately, you can set it up this way with the Mutant Brain, because it has this, it's called brain surgery. It's like this web application where you can program the module just like you need it. And you can, yeah, what I did is on this channel, which is MIDI channel F, so track 14 on the here, I set it up so it is sending MIDI notes on channel 14. And on channel 14, I have it set up so the C is, I don't know if you can see it, like it's lighting up a bit here, it's channel 1. And channel 2 is the D, so I try to work around like the limitations in MIDI channels by setting it up with different pitch informations to control all the samples.
And it's very pleasing to look at.
Yeah, because it's like
talking together.
Yeah, it's lighting up over here, yeah. And this also goes into like maybe the filter of this. Yeah, so you saw that not every channel is responding. Like I think this one, when I press, like what would it be, C, D, E, F, the G note doesn't respond to channel 5, and that is because channel 5 is empty for this project. I don't need a sample on this channel, so I just left it empty, but the others are still working. And maybe you already saw that channel 8 didn't play yet. That is because on the next track, track 15, it is communicating on MIDI channel 15, and that is set up this way, so the triggers get sent to channel 8, but the volt per octave, so the pitch information, gets tracked to channel 8 on the squid sample as well. So I can play it in pitch and play melodies with it if I want to. Most of the times, just because of the complexity, I just have a pad prepared there as well, but in some projects I want to just play a bit of live, like improvising the notes, and that is like channel 8 is like the special channel on the squid. And now we still have one more channel left on the Digitakt, which is track 16, and it is also MIDI channel 16, and it goes out, and now there's another very pleasing way, because I have like these light up cables, and when I keep it pressed, they light up, and you can basically follow the signal, because you see it ends here and then goes over here, and yeah, then goes into the brucha, which is like my... I wanted to have not only samples played, I wanted to have some kind of live, yeah, sound generating modules. So the setup here is I play the NIT, which is a Platz clone, like a small HP Platz clone, which goes into the rings, which is over here, mutable instruments rings, which is like a stable module. This is some clone. As most of my modules, it has like a alternative black faceplate, and the pitch information goes to both, but the audio from the Platz goes into the input of the ring, so it resonates in a very special way. So it isn't actually tuned. I can't really play melodies like I can play with the samples on this, but I can, and it's more of a vibe thing, I would say. I can play different sounds, which most of the time work great with all the other elements. And this goes into the brucha, and maybe you know, or bruja, I don't know how to pronounce it. And this is like a very experimental delay line. It's from, I think, the Strega from Make Noise. And as you hear, you can get pretty wild with it.
It's a form of a mystic, isn't it? A bruja.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a witch or yeah, something like that. And it's like, this way I have a bit of texture. And
magic.
yeah, and magic and unpredictability, because I really don't necessarily know what happens if I just turn everything. Yeah. So that's like in some ways very exciting to just experiment a little bit, but because it's not like a key element of the setup, I can just like mute that channel if it runs too wild, and then everything is fine. Yeah, so basically that's the modular setup and the Digitakt setup. And the last two things you see over here, which I don't want to miss. This is the Steppy by Intelligil, and it's a step sequencer. And I used to have like the triggers for the squid. I used to have it set up over here and like with a direct connection, but it just has 4 outputs, so it's like quite limited. Now I use it as a sidechain signal, because it's very easy to change up the information. And let's just go with white noise. And now you listen, if you listen, you can hear that it gets sidechained, it's pumping a bit. And I also can switch the rhythm easily, and I can mute it easily. So if I have tracks that need a sidechain, maybe even need the rhythm of the sidechain without having the kick actually sidechaining, this is like my workaround. And it just sends the sidechain triggers to the Endorphins cockpit, which is my master mixer over here, and it has a sidechain, a dedicated sidechain knob. I don't know if you can see it, which is just getting triggered by it. And then from the cockpit, it is the last point in the modular, and then it gets sent out of the IntelliJ case. And you see there's like my two line-out cables, but I also have two line-in cables. And those cables are there because I also have a loop machine. And this is the last ingredient, so to speak, for my setup. It derived because I needed a solution when I switch programs, like when I need to load another program on the Squid. I don't know if you can see it, but it takes some time because it doesn't have the best processing power. So you see, I just started loading, and there's this little bar, and it's loading and loading and loading. And I really don't want to wait until the next project is loaded. Now it is done, and everyone is just standing there and waiting. That I really don't want to happen. There needs to be always some kind of music coming. And when I first started with this, I didn't have the assimilator, I didn't have the Digitakt, so I was depending on the Squid much more. And because of this, I bought the loop station, which is just, I think most people know the big brother of it, which has 5 channels of loop channels. Looping tracks. This only has 2, but it's enough for me. And it serves 2 purposes. Like the first one is I can input my flute. I just record it with the microphone and then have it getting affected with delay and reverb already while recording, so I don't need to worry about it at all with like more gear or more like guitar pedals to just give it some room. And the second thing is I can loop it, and I then can create like atmospheric pads without me actually playing the whole time. So in my first versions of the live setup, it was also clocked, but now it isn't because I'm not depending on it too much. When you use percussive instruments, it would be pretty important to have the loop in time synced up to all the digital stuff, but because now it's all about like the atmosphere, it's okay if it's not like 100% tracked. I can maybe just roughly tap it, so it has like 85 BPM, which is close to 172 if you double it. I don't bother about the 1 BPM that's missing. I need to think about starting or activating the mic level, and then we have the microphone active. Close down the mic again, and now we have some kind of like abstract, very filtered ambience, which has like the movement and like the texture of my breath, but also I don't have to worry about it. I can filter it. So when I play a lot with this, I can make it fit to like your old school jungle sounds as well. But yeah, that's basically when I want to play the live instruments. That's the way I use it. The one thing I am always, not afraid, but I have to keep in mind is that the mic picks up a lot of feedback, especially in like if I play in a club with monitor speakers and like the sound system right in front of me. you really have to be careful that the audience doesn't get their ears blasted. So yeah, it's a delicate thing, and because of that I usually play it in like not full bassline kick drum mode, but only with maybe like some atmospheric sounds, and maybe I add over that, for example. Yeah, that's basically it.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Amazing. It's. I wonder how much time you spent figuring out what modules goes and which modules doesn't, and then also just routing everything and preparing. It's very impressive, and I cannot wait to hear it live.
Yeah, cheers. It is, like I said, it is a constant journey, re-evaluation. This is the first time where I have the Digitakt instead of the NerdSec, which is like a tracker in Eurorec form, and the tracker has like so many options to really get into like the delicacies of the break chopping and sampling. But yeah, now I have it working this way, and maybe the next time I play wherever, maybe there's like more outboard gear or more modules or less modules, I don't know, because it is just like a continuous progress, and I feel like the goal is not to have like one working thing, but the goal is to like it's quite similar to the performance I do, which is like a journey and like a progress, and it's the same with me setting it up, preparing it. It is as well a journey and a constant progress of like reflection and thinking about what I need and I want and what works and what doesn't work and so on. Yeah, but it takes time. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time. And I want to say thank you very much for sharing. And this just goes straight into the whole philosophy of all of this that we're doing, which is sharing is caring. There is no secrets here. It's non-exclusive. It's all for the purpose of zoning in, zooming out, tuning in, tuning out. Absolutely. So we really hope that you come and experience a Dreadmaul show. You have the experience waiting right in front of you tonight at Bolsjefabrikken with Breakbeat Therapy. We are we're hosting Dreadmaul. You just show there. Yeah.
This one, which it is a pretty nice poster as well. So I'm super happy about this.
Yeah.
How it looks, and the other guys who are playing the whole thing. I had a look at the venue yesterday. I'm really hyped up for tonight to show all of this in action.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you again for organizing all this, and I'm having an absolute blast over here.
Perfect. So one final question, which is probably the wish of everyone right now. Could you play us out? Could you play, just give us a little teaser of what's going down
Maybe
tonight?
I play like the first tune I actually play tonight, like get in the actual vibe. But like I said before, it's about the loading times now, but I think we can figure it out. So let's see.
Amazing. Thank you. Way. Woo! Yeah. So that's what we do because we love it, because we're all in it together. And if you don't do it, maybe no one will. So keep doing it. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And
it was really fun.
It was a pleasure hosting it here at Rumkraft.
Yeah.
It's really all about community.
I love it.
It's inside or outside or whatever it might be. Yo, just want to big up Rumkraft and the whole crew and everyone for partaking.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's so great to have like a space or like people who run the space as well. And yeah, it's really not that common in my experience. So I endorse it with everything I have. It's so great.
You just did. Thank you. Thank you. And we look forward to tonight. Yeah. Big up. See you around. Come out. Breakbeat therapy. Rumkraft, Dreadmaul, Tunnel, Kata, Bistand, Repulse, all of them. Odd harmonics, big mounting. Yeah. Tuning out.
Lovely, man.
Yes, liar.